In 2017, China's northern region was stricken with an especially severe drought. Almost no rain or snow ever fell. Surprisingly, Beijing, the nation's capital, an arid region far from natural water resources, did not experience a water shortage. So where did the water come from? Thanks to a massive $60 billion infrastructure project, Beijing's water mostly comes from a city in the south separated from it by over 1,200 kilometers of land. The story of this ongoing water transportation project is the story of humanity defying nature by digging and carving through literal mountains to move water thousands of kilometers from the water-rich southern region of China to its arid northern region. In today's video, we'll listen to this story and look in detail at the benefits of this miraculous infrastructure project and some of the bleak human and environmental sacrifices behind it too. So let's jump into it. Welcome back to PST Mega Projects. You've probably often heard about China's severe pollution issues. Many of China's cities, like Xinjiang, are among the worst in the world in terms of air quality and industrial pollution. But you'll likely be surprised to find out that water scarcity is the biggest challenge facing the nation's rapid growth and population of 2 billion people. You can't be blamed for wondering how China, a nation known for having an especially strong agriculture sector, is suffering from a water shortage problem. After all, China's agricultural economy is the strongest in the world, producing 20% of the world's food. To see why there's still a water problem, we need to look at its geography. The southern region of China is blessed with the Yangtze and Yellow rivers. The Yellow River Bank alone is one of the world's largest and most developed agricultural lands. In addition, the region is filled with fertile floodplains. As a result, the Chinese population has been flourishing for thousands of years. Southern China is where the vast majority of its agricultural production comes from. On the other hand, the northern and far western regions are dry and mountainous. In addition to the famous Himalayas and the Tibetan Plateau, the Gobi and Taklamakan deserts occupy much of the area there. The overall result of this uneven natural division of China's land is a similar uneven distribution of the country's population. Almost 94% of Chinese people live in the southeastern half of China. The problem would have been tolerable if not for China's rapid industrial growth and consequent population expansion in the 20th century. It was clear early on that the northern part, which only relied on groundwater and rain at the time, would eventually have to face an increased water demand. This is why Mao Zedong, displaying an early awareness of the problem, famously said in 1952, "Water in the south is abundant, water in the north scarce. If possible, it would be fine to borrow a little." Despite what Mao's words may make it sound, the solution of transporting water from the south to the north would later turn out to be far from simple. His suggestion became a reality exactly 50 years later when China's State Council approved the beginning of the construction of what was later officially called the South-North Water Diversion Project. The decision came after years of extensive planning and research. The plan was basically to create a mind-bogglingly large series of artificial structures, like canals and dams, to move fresh water from its main sources in the south and store it in the northern areas where it's needed most, like Beijing. The project consists of 3 stages, the first 2 of which have already been completed, and the third, by far the most challenging and troublesome, is in the planning stage. Each stage is essentially a water transportation route. The first is the eastern one. The route begins near the city of Yangzhou, which lies at one of the branches of the Yangtze River. There, a massive pumping station diverts the water from the Yangtze River into the Jinjiang Grand Canal, which is the world's largest artificial waterway. The station and the canal are not the only impressive parts of this route, because there's also an underground tunnel that stretches under the Yellow River, bringing the water across. Eventually, the water reaches its final destination, the city of Tianjin, through a series of aqueducts. The total length of this route is over 1,100 kilometers long. The construction process took roughly 15 years. It began in 2002 and was initially projected to end in 2013, but unsurprisingly, the process turned out to be quite difficult and finally ended in 2017 instead, when fresh water finally reached the citizens of Tianjin with an estimated volume of over 1 billion cubic meters per year, benefiting 10 million people. As impressive as the eastern route is, the central route is even more important and challenging. It's more important because its capacity is much higher. By 2030, the route is projected to deliver over 12 billion cubic meters of water per year to the capital, Beijing, as its capacity expands. It's more challenging, though, as the entirety of the infrastructure was built from the ground up for this project. This is in contrast to the eastern route, where some of the infrastructure, like the pumping station and some canals, already existed and only needed improvement. The challenge never deterred China, however, given that the route, currently stretching over 1,200 kilometers, was finished in 2014. Finally, we come to the western route. It's still in the planning stage and where the water diversion project gets quite interesting. The plans for this route include connecting the Yangtze River to the Yellow River through the Qinghai-Tibet Plateau. If you're wondering what could go wrong here, keep in mind that this plateau is around 3 to 5 kilometers high. The height is not the only problem, though. The topography and snowy climate of the plateau make it quite difficult for humans to live or move there, much less trying to build a huge construction project. The route will require China to carve through a mountain if this isn't bad enough. Just imagine what it would be like to try to bring large construction equipment and a big group of construction workers up a very tall and very snowy mountain. The situation in the case of the project's western route wouldn't be so different. Construction is predicted to end in 2050. While this may seem like an overly far point into the future, it isn't really surprising now that we know how challenging this route will be. When it's finished, not only will it be a massive socio-economic boost for the Chinese population by providing access to an estimated 100 million people, but it will also be a miracle of engineering and a testament to humanity's ever-growing ability to tame nature. Overall, the South to North Water Diversion Project currently serves a total of over 140 million people, but it isn't without its costs. It is estimated that around $62 billion have been invested in this project so far, making it one of the most expensive human undertakings ever. Some even believe the number could be as high as $80 billion or more. This is only the construction cost, which doesn't account for the billions and billions of dollars China will have to spend in order to maintain the gigantic infrastructure stretching all over the large country regularly. The story doesn't end here, however. Though extremely high, the economic costs of this project are understandable and probably completely justifiable in light of the invaluable resources it provides millions of people. Not to mention, of course, the eventual agricultural boost. But a project of this scope also comes with human and environmental sacrifices, not just economic ones. Indeed, the water diversion project has been controversial because many people, including scientists and engineers and some ordinary Chinese citizens, believe it's harmful to the environment and many people's lives. First, during the construction of the central route, the Danjingkou Dam had to be raised over 15 meters to allow water to flow north more easily from the main water resources in Danjingkou, the route's beginning. Over 300,000 people were relocated from their homes to allow that to happen. There is fear that this may continue in many places as the routes expand further. Second, some people doubt that the project is the best solution to northern China's water problems and believe it may have created more problems than it solved. This is because the project artificially redirected the flow of many rivers, leading to some of them drying up almost completely. In addition, locals in the southern areas where water has been diverted are understandably worried, since the amount of water they have has been decreasing. For example, the central route transports almost 30% of the water in the Han River north. In response to this, China's government has announced plans to build an underground tunnel to transport water to areas around the river expected to be impacted the most. This tunnel will be the world's new largest artificial waterway. Third and finally, since these routes run through major cities, they have been affected by China's population problem. Factories and citizens alike dump some of their waste into the water, polluting it. Moreover, due to their design and proximity to the Yellow Sea, there are concerns about the possibility of seawater leaking into the routes. It seems that the project has some downsides. Whether the benefits, which cannot be ignored, justify the costs will be seen in the future. What do you think about this project? Do you believe the benefits outweigh the costs? Or do you think the Chinese government could have opted for an alternative solution? We would like to hear your thoughts and suggestions in the comments below. Please like and subscribe for more videos like this, and check out our other mega project videos. That's all for now. See you in the next one.